Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody can't hear me, please let me know. Good morning. As I said, my name is Brendan Basiga. I was hired as the independent investigator into this matter. Just by way of background, on or about April 19th, 2016, I was contacted by attorney Erwin Oakes regarding the possibility of conducting an independent investigation into allegations of misconduct against the mayor. Now, prior to this, I had never met Ms. Erwin Oakes, nor had my law firm or myself done any work for the city of Flint. And prior to this, the only acquaintance that I had was with Ms. Erwin Oakes' husband, attorney Michael Oakes, as we are both criminal defense lawyers practicing in Ingham County. On April 22nd, I met with Ms. Erwin Oakes. I was briefed on the background of the allegations and provided with information relating to the allegations against Mayor Weaver. April 23rd, the legal services agreement between myself and the city of Flint was signed. And much later, on or about May 27th, that's when we received the retainer payment. The first interview that I conducted was with Ms. Maxine Murray. I interviewed Ms. Maxine Murray at City Hall here in the city of Flint on April 28, 2016. Ms. Murray reported that several checks had been sent to the mayor's office that were made out to the city of Flint. She reported that she did not know what to do with these checks and thereafter sought the mayor's advice. She reported that the mayor directed her to send her questions to the finance department, and Ms. Murray did so. Subsequently, the finance department instructed her to turn the checks over to them so that the checks could be returned to the individuals who had sent them in the first place. Ms. Murray reported that she did not follow those instructions, but instead left the checks on her desk for several months and eventually forgot about them. Ms. Murray specifically denied that the mayor had ever directed her to deposit the checks into a fund other than the one that had been previously approved. She also specifically denied that she had ever reported any allegations of unethical conduct to Ms. Natasha Henderson. The second individual that I interviewed was Mayor Karen Weaver herself. Again, I interviewed Mayor Weaver here at City Hall in the city of Flint, April 28, 2016. Mayor Weaver recalled that Ms. Maxine Murray had brought the checks to her attention, seeking her instructions on what to do with them. Mayor Weaver then instructed Ms. Murray to contact the finance department for assistance. Mayor Weaver denied ever having directed Ms. Murray to deposit the checks into a different fund other than the one that had been previously approved. Mayor Weaver did not know the whereabouts or what was ultimately done with the checks that Ms. Murray had brought to her attention. Mayor Weaver reported that when she was first elected, none of the department heads would meet with her directly, and that at one point there was even a meeting amongst the department heads of which Mayor Weaver was not informed, nor was she invited. Mayor Weaver reported that once her mayoral powers were restored on or about January 15, 2016, she ended the employment of most of the department heads, including that of Ms. Henderson. Mayor Weaver reported that one of the main reasons for ending Ms. Henderson's employment was that Ms. Henderson supposedly knew about the Legionnaire's disease problem and not only failed to report this information to Mayor Weaver, but also failed to act upon the same. The next individual that I interviewed was with Ms. Jody Lundquist. I interviewed Ms. Lundquist here at City Hall on May 18, 2016. Ms. Lundquist reported that her office had received checks from individuals made out to the City of Flint. However, she reported that those checks could not be cashed by the City of Flint and were therefore returned back to the individuals who sent them in the first place. Ms. Lundquist reported that Ms. Henderson and Ms. Murray had come to her about Mayor Weaver's alleged direction to deposit the checks into a different fund other than the one that was previously approved. Ms. Lundquist reported that Ms. Henderson and Ms. Murray came to her at separate times and that Ms. Murray came to her after Ms. Henderson's employment had been terminated. Ms. Lundquist had never spoken to anyone, including Mayor Weaver, regarding these allegations, and only recalls giving Ms. Murray instructions to bring the checks to her department so that the checks could be returned to the individuals who had sent them. Ms. Lundquist also was not aware of whatever happened to the checks referred to by Ms. Murray. Next, I interviewed Mr. Anthony Chubb. I interviewed Mr. Chubb at City Hall here in the city of Flint on May 31st, 2016. Mr. Chubb reported that he received the email that detailed the allegations of unethical conduct against Mayor Weaver on or about February 9th, 2016. Mr. Chubb reported that upon receiving this email from Ms. Henderson, he and his team began researching the question of whether or not the legal department was able to conduct this investigation, or if the legal department was actually in a conflict of interest. Mr. Chubb reported that after researching the professional rules of conduct and obtaining a definitive answer from the ethics department from the State Bar of Michigan, it was determined that the legal department could not conduct this investigation due to a conflict of interest. Mr. Chubb reported that he made Mayor Weaver aware of the allegations against her on or about February 24th. Now, when asked why the delay, he reported that he did not immediately inform Mayor Weaver because he wanted to have a game plan in place before informing the mayor. Mr. Chubb reported that he hired the services of another lawyer with whom he had previously worked on projects unrelated to the city of Flint. Mr. Chubb reported that he provided Ms. Irwin Oakes with a memo dated April 4th, 2016, that indicated his reasons for hiring that particular lawyer to conduct the independent investigation into these allegations. And among these reasons for the hire was that the lawyer had never conducted any business with the city of Flint before being retained for this investigation. During my interview with Mr. Chubb, he then reported that his April 4th, 2016 memo was not accurate, given that the lawyer he retained to conduct the investigation had actually been previously retained in January of 2016 to advise on a separate and unrelated matter, but was retained by the city of Flint. Mr. Chubb reported that he was not aware of what happened to the checks, nor was he aware of the reasons why Ms. Henderson's employment had been terminated. Regarding my interview with Ms. Natasha Henderson, several emails were exchanged between myself and Ms. Henderson's attorney. Although her attorney indicated that Ms. Henderson was willing to participate in this investigation, as of today's date, neither Ms. Henderson nor her lawyer have ever scheduled a date or time for an interview with regards to this investigation. Supplementarily, I conducted a secondary interview with Ms. Maxine Murray this morning. Specifically, the question was whether or not she had ever reported these allegations of misconduct to anyone, whether that be Ms. Jody Lundquist or Ms. Natasha Henderson. The resounding answer was no. The only conversation that ever took place, according to Ms. Murray, was directions as to sending the checks to the finance department or customer service so that they could be mailed back to the individuals. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, as far as my conclusions are concerned, based on the information that I was able to obtain, I can find no evidence of an unethical conduct by Mayor Karen Weaver. Although there are allegations made against Mayor Weaver, Ms. Maxine Murray specifically denied ever having made them during her interviews with me. Although Ms. Lundquist reported that Ms. Henderson and Ms. Murray indicated their concerns to her at separate times, Ms. Lundquist was not part of the alleged conversation between Mayor Weaver and Ms. Murray and only received such information as a third party. Mayor Weaver, Ms. Lundquist, and Mr. Chubb did not know what ultimately happened to the checks in question, while Ms. Murray explained that the checks remained at her desk for months. Succinctly put, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot find any evidence of unethical conduct by Mayor Karen Weaver. Yes. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, I was provided bank statements with regards to the Friends of Karen Weaver Fund, as well as the Caring for Flint Fund. Neither bank statements indicate any questionable deposits, and the donation checks that were made were supported by copies of the checks themselves. It's my understanding that the checks in question, with regards to the allegations of unethical conduct, were actually turned over to Attorney Erwin Oakes.